I lived on an island for 5.5 years, Coral Island, small Coral Island. And one day, long ago, 45 years ago, I was on another island of my parish, and it was a Saturday evening, it was during Lent, and I was sitting on the veranda talking to people, and we heard a horse, and the horse rode up with the rider on it, and the rider said to me I was needed back on my own island. It was getting dark, so you don't go to sea in a small boat in the dark if you can avoid it, but it was important and they wanted me to come back now because it was an emergency. So the rider dismounted, I mounted, the man took my stirrup and he ran at the side of the horse, and we set off about a mile and a half to the coast, where a boat, I think my boat, little boat, was waiting for me. And I jumped on board with the guy who'd come to fetch me, and we went back with a couple of guys in the crew. We got back as it was getting dark. It was about 2 miles across the sea. And what had happened was 62 refugees from Vietnam. Vietnam was at war with China, and so people who lived in China but lived in Vietnam, but they were Chinese descent. So it's like us living here, but we're Irish descent. I'm English, but I'm Irish descent. They were Vietnamese with Chinese descent. So because they're at war with China, they were getting persecuted. And so many of them left. They went on leaky boats and headed off into the sea. 62 of them hit the coral reef off one of my islands, and the boat broke up. The people hadn't eaten for 8 days. They hadn't drunk except rainwater. So they were weak. So they were all fell out of the boat as the boat broke up on the reef. And the people on this island, tiny island, about 100 people, including their kids, lived on this island. They swam out, it wasn't deep, 6-7 feet, and they rescued everybody, including a man in his late 60s, right down to a babe in arms. They rescued everybody, nobody died. And they kept them on their island, and there's nothing to feed them on except coconuts. That sounds funny, but when coconuts dry, you can sell the inside, and they press that to make into cooking oil or coconut oil. So it was the only source of income these people had. They gave up their source of income to feed these people. The storm lasted another 6-7 days, and only after that could they bring the people to my island, which was another hour in the boat. So they had brought them to my island, and people had come to me to fetch me back to help look after them. So we did. Before I got there, 22 of the people had been moved to the mainland to a refugee camp. There were 40 left. So those 40, we managed to have them into our house, church downstairs, house upstairs. We had them in basically what was the church. And we looked after them for a couple of weeks. So I had 40 people living with me for 40 weeks, and they were just great people. None of them Christians, of these 40. One of the 22 who'd gone to the mainland was a Christian, and her 2 children were Christians. But the rest, nobody else was Christian. And we looked after them. And all the people on my island gave rice, food. We even got a pig for them to kill. And and again, talking about missio, you know, we could do that because we had a tiny bit of money, and a tiny bit of money, actually, our tiny bit of money there did actually come from people in England and Scotland, you know, but it could come from anywhere. And with that, we were able to look after them. Eventually, they went to the refugee camp. Eventually, one died. The captain of the boat died. But apart from that, 2 stayed in the Philippines. Everybody else went to USA. Australia or Germany, and they used to write to me for a while. But anyway, it's just a tale from long ago and far away.